One theater in Miami opened its doors to show independent films from across the country and the world.
After enjoying a nice and mild Sunday, our next storm system's on the way. We'll track that and your complete forecast coming up.
More than 100 cars from 5 states came out for the MOCAN Hot Rod Reunion. The U.S. is approaching its 30 millionth confirmed COVID case as a new variant from Brazil appears in New York City.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
More than 8 pounds of methamphetamine was intercepted in northeast Oklahoma, which authorities say was headed to Grove. This is the late edition of KOAM News at 10. I'm Chris Warner. Officials with the Miami Police Department say their department, working with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office and members of the 13th District Drug and Violent Crimes Task Force, stopped a vehicle earlier today with the methamphetamine inside. 2 women were arrested for trafficking and conspiracy. Miami hosted their Sunny Side Up Film Festival at the iconic Coleman Theater. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us why indie filmmakers from across the country participated in the festival.
For any local film enthusiasts looking for a way to spend their weekend, the iconic Coleman Theater's doors were open and hosting the Sunny Side Up Film Festival. Rock Whitehead, director of the festival, explains that submissions for the festival came from all over.
It's an international film festival for indie filmmakers and screenwriters that submit their films throughout the United States and pretty much all over the country.
Some submissions even came from outside of the country.
We've had people from all over, South Africa, Switzerland. We've had a few different films from out of the country.
Unfortunately, those filmmakers couldn't be here due to the pandemic. But filmmakers within the states were in attendance to see their work on the big screen. One filmmaker, Jason Ryan's short indie Western film was a new spin on a classic style.
The Four Horsemen is a Western. It's a throwback to the spaghetti Westerns that I grew up with. So I was kind of wanted to take that and do a new story, but in the same style, inspired by Clint Eastwood.
For Ryan, having his work shown was a completely new experience.
Watching it on the big screen was like seeing it for the first time. We also had, the sound was incredible. The gunshots were echoing throughout the theater, and it really brought it to life, much more so than watching it on the TV.
For a lot of indie filmmakers, festivals are one of the only times that people can see their work. For just $20, festival goers are able to support smaller filmmakers while having access to unlimited films. In Miami, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The festival wrapped up tonight and ended with an award show for those whose work was shown. 4 state race fans were having a blast today at the MOCAN Dragway. They were there for the 11th annual Spring Hot Rod Reunion and to check out the time runs, car part swap meet, and of course, a really cool car show. The event was a real treat for fans of classic cars and featured more than 100 hot rods from multiple states.
It's very important. You know, we're coming back to life out here, and everybody's ready to do something and get out of the house, and we're here. MOCAN is really popular in the area, and over the last few years, we've been getting big crowds, and so we're really proud of that.
The kids under the age of 12 got in free, making the reunion some affordable family fun. And it was a beautiful day for a hot rod reunion today, Nick.
It certainly was. A bit cool this morning for sure, but we can get highs back in your 69, even some spots near 70, Chris. It's definitely considered a good afternoon and a good Sunday, especially our first Sunday of the spring season. Even though we have partly sunny skies, we were able to see temperatures rebound, but now we're locked up with mostly cloudy skies ahead of our next storm system, which you can easily pick out for yourself almost if you follow the wind arrows into central Kansas from northeast to southwest. That's our next cold front on the way in. Before it gets in to bring in rain chances, though, we stay dry for the night and to start your Monday out. It's going to be a bit cool, though. Overnight lows drop back into the upper 40s. For many of you, we'll be back near 60 to as warm as 64 for your Monday afternoon as we see our rain chances tick up during the afternoon. That's our first of many rain chances on the way, Chris. There we go. We'll break that down and the full forecast here in a bit.
Indubitably, Mr. Kelly,
yes.
Indubitably. We have an update to a story we brought you last night out of Greene County. The Greene County prosecutor has charged 50-year-old Jesse Hoy of Strafford, Missouri, with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of armed criminal action with no bond. Now, last night, just after 6:30, officials say Hoy called 911 saying he had just killed 3 of his family members at his home at 4486 North Farm Road 249 in Strafford. Authorities charge Hoy with murdering his spouse, Tanya Hoy, and her parents, Ronald and Linda Kohler, both from Baton Rouge. The U.S. is approaching its 30 millionth confirmed case of COVID-19. New York City health officials are concerned about the discovery of a case of the more contagious variant first detected in Brazil, and large crowds of spring breakers defy a curfew in the heart of Miami Beach's nightlife district. CBS News correspondent Nancy Chen reports from New York.
New York officials are on alert after the state confirmed its first case of the more contagious COVID variant first seen in Brazil.
One of the concerns about this particular variant is that it has that mutation that's also in the South African variant, in the 1351 variant, that we know in certain cases is causing people who have already had coronavirus to get reinfected with it.
Nationwide, more than 81 million, or nearly 1 in every 3 American adults, have now received at least 1 vaccine dose. 17% are fully vaccinated, and millions who have already had the virus may carry some degree of immunity.
We're talking about some form of protective immunity in about 55% of the population. So there's enough of a backstop here that I don't think you're going to see a 4th surge. I think what you could see is a plateauing for a period of time before we continue on a downward decline.
In Miami Beach, thousands of spring breakers, many maskless, flooded the streets, defying a Saturday night emergency 8 p.m. curfew. While in Arkansas, Governor Asa Hutchinson says he plans to lift the state's mask mandate at the end of the month.
Common sense is going to replace mandates.
The governor says he expects residents to wear masks even when the mandate ends. Nancy Chen, CBS News.
COVID-19 has killed more than 542,000 Americans. And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Corporal Kenneth Hill served in the Army in England and Germany and was in the Battle of the Bulge with the 343rd Artillery Division, his hometown, Wyandotte. And we are proud to recognize Corporal Kenneth Hill, tonight's four-state hero. That's a look at our top stories. Quick check of the forecast on the late KOAM News at 10. Still ahead, we're going to be talking with Pittsburgh City Manager Darren Hall about how the city has handled the coronavirus pandemic. Tonight, we're connecting people to their communities by speaking with city and community leaders on different topics. Now, for this night, we have Pittsburgh City Manager Darren Hall. We're at the 1-year mark of the coronavirus pandemic, so we spoke with Darren about the pandemic in the city. He says 2 words come to mind regarding the city's response to the pandemic: humble and cautious, in that the response from the community has been very humbling, but he says they are still cautious as they move forward.
Nobody saw this coming. Nobody has any blueprint for working on it, yet the community has really rallied around one another. All the businesses, the shop local effort, the public safety effort, as crazy as all the rules have been, everybody's kind of understood that, you know, we're trying very hard to get this right, and that, you know, patience is going to lead us through it. And, you know, Pittsburgh, you know, I'm looking around the state and around the country, and I'm just really proud of how our community has handled something as large and as kind of challenging as this.
And it's not having a blueprint to follow for pandemic response that has also caused the city to reflect. Now, Darren saying they feel they could have been better prepared, but not understanding how they could have been with no precedence for the situation in the community.
You know, when you see 80 people in the county have passed away, you always look back and think, could we have made a decision sooner? Could we have could we have been a little more broad in how we implemented a decision? But, you know, I think for the most part, second guessing your reaction to a pandemic is probably kind of like beating your head against a wall. You want to look for those areas where you really missed something, and we just kept our eyes open and worked together.
And at the 1-year mark, there is hope on the horizon as vaccines continue to roll out and states continue to open up eligibility, getting more vaccine into the communities. Now, while the pandemic is not over, Darren says there's still a number of lessons learned about community response to future disasters, as well as adaptive technology to keep the city open for business when the offices were closed.
So I think our ability to respond is just much improved to any disaster, whether it's ice, power outage, tornado, God forbid. We know how to work from our houses. We have the technology, the broadband now to do that. And it continues through educating the kids in the community, keeping them at school, keeping them where they should be, and keeping people fed and provided for. So I think overall we've come out of it much stronger, and it's things that are permanent now as we look to deliver services to the community.
Well, still ahead on the KOAM News at 10, business and tourism is beginning to take off again in Arkansas. Nick Kelly's up next with his complete forecast first.
Our first Sunday of the spring season turned out to be pretty good for us. Even with partly sunny skies throughout the day, we still took advantage of relatively dry air in place and a good south wind throughout the day. With that said, in summation, even though we had quite a bit more cloud cover compared to yesterday over Indigo Sky and other areas outside of Seneca, Missouri, we saw temperatures warm up no problem. After a cool start this morning, after we started in the lower to middle 40s this morning, we were warmer than our highs in the lower to middle 60s yesterday. In fact, we started pushing near 70 before the afternoon was all said and done. So this certainly was a nice way to wrap up this weekend. From here on out, at least going into your Monday morning ahead of us, we're already seeing temperatures dropping back into the 50s, but I think we'll ultimately drop back into the upper 40s before we hit sunrise Monday morning. Once we get to sunrise, though, you'll see a lot of cloud cover ahead of our next storm system on the way in. Despite that, areas around Joplin, we should be back near 61 at least to start the afternoon out before we see temperatures take a tumble with that next storm system already wanting to push on in. Out ahead of that system, though, we've had the partly sunny skies today, now locked in with mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the night. As we show you the wind arrows, pretty easy to see where that next front is. You have to go from northeast Kansas all the way back near Dodge City into the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. That is where our next cold front sits. Not a lot of moisture with it now, but it's going to pick up some more moisture as it scoots along and as we have our next upper low working out of the western U.S. So it's going to be a big change after we enjoyed this nice upper level ridge keeping us quiet and mild for much of this weekend. But changes, they are constant, and this latest change will keep us mostly cloudy for the overnight. Thankfully, though, we hold off on the rain chances. You can see how the future track holds off on any rain chances on the Kansas side, central Kansas at least, as we get your 6 o'clock hour underway. Even as we head toward the start of the afternoon, most of us will be in the lower 60s with dry conditions, mostly cloudy skies still in place. It's not until the afternoon. That's when we'll see the rain chances start to ramp up, and I don't see any thunderstorm chances rolling in until tomorrow evening. 49 in the morning, but even with mostly cloudy skies and eventually the rain chances picking up, that south wind of 10 to 20 should push us to 61 by noon, and afternoon highs right around 64. And once these rain chances work in, this storm system is going to take its sweet time getting these rain chances out of here. So moisture wrapping around on the backside of this system keeps rain and thunderstorm chances going Monday night through Tuesday. And then it's not until late Tuesday afternoon that we'll see these rain chances skedaddle. Now, rain amounts with this first wave on the way, thankfully it's not looking impressive. No heavy rain expected, but most of us can expect between ½ an inch and an inch of rain. And that is, again, with the first wave of rain on the way. Once we get this system out of here, we're dry for much of Wednesday. Then this next upper low will bring in rain late Wednesday night into Thursday. Once we get that out of here, our next system could bring in some thunderstorm chances as we get the weekend started. So plenty of rain chances lined up. Fortunately, there will be pockets of dry time in between it all. 64 tomorrow, mid-50s Tuesday, upper 50s Wednesday, then a quick detour back to 53 on Thursday, Chris. But thankfully, we'll start next weekend out on the right note. 65 Friday, 67 on Saturday.
These temperatures are a little hard on my heat and air at home. I can't seem to find a good balance when they fluctuate like this.
Hey, at least we're not seeing any big swings, and thankfully no more Arctic blasts, at least as far as I can tell.
I'm happy with that.
So
I can do without the Arctic blast. Yeah. Nick, thank you so much. Well, coming up in sports, one local boxer is achieving a career milestone. Plus, number 6 ranked Crowder College goes for the 4-game series sweep against Mineral Area College.
Joplin's TJ Britton earns his first professional MMA title Saturday night. Britton defeated Sky Mosicek at Cage of Honor 81 in Joplin last night, with a third-round TKO earning the flyweight belt. Britton is now 7-2 in his pro MMA career. You can watch the full third round of the fight in this story on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. Crowder Baseball continues their 4-game series against Mineral Area today. The Rough Riders complete the doubleheader sweep over the Cardinals on Saturday, including scoring 28 runs in Game 2. Game 1 today, Crowder tacks on another win. This one finishes 15-5 in 5 innings. The Rough Riders are 17-4 on the season. In Game 2, Landry Wilkerson likes the pitch. Deep center and over the wall it goes. Solo shot for Wilkerson. Rough Riders up 2 after 2. Mineral Area now. Ben Jones sends it out to center field. That's a triple. 2 runs in for Mineral Area. 2 outs, game tied at 3, bases loaded. Rod Chris up for Crowder. Yep, that's a grand slam. Crowder breaks this one wide open. 4 more. Frankie Cercello crushes it. Cardinals infielder just shrugs. 2-run homer. Crowder adds 6 more in the 4th. Rough Riders win 14-4, completing the series sweep. Lady Riders also in action today, hosting a doubleheader against Jefferson College. Game 1, Crowder is handed just their 2nd loss of the season in a 2-1 game. Game 2, Lady Riders turn up the heat. Emily Shipman gets a 3-run home run. They dominate 14-1 is the final. Pitt State softball rides a 4-game winning streak into today's doubleheader against Washburn. In the Gorillas' latest win, they scored 23 runs. PSU looking to stay hot. Game 1, top of the 1st. Gorillas will hold off the Ichabods, but not for long. Second here, Bree Francis with a bomb to left. It's windy. This one just barely stays in play. 2-run shot for the Ichabods. 3 hits, 3 runs, and 3 RBI for number 14. To the 4th, Francis on base. Maddie Stipsitz. She'll double deep. Bounces off the back wall. Washburn up 5-0. The Ichabods will go on to win Game 1, 10-1. Game 2 goes to Washburn for the doubleheader sweep. The Ichabods win 10-2 in 6 innings. Katie Kakowski and Cammie Zimmerman score the runs for the Gorillas, both in the 2nd inning. The NCAA tournament, of course, continues today with round 2 kicking off. Arkansas hits the floor against Texas Tech. A 2-point game, the Razorbacks pull off the 68-66 win, knocking off the Raiders. Justin Smith has a team-high 20 points for Arkansas. That's it for sports. We'll be back with more news after this.
More than a year into this pandemic, and tourism is finally beginning to bounce back in Arkansas, especially as more people get vaccinated. Hot Springs was not an exception, and now they're finally starting to see business return in the Spa City. Ian Russell from our affiliate KTHV in Little Rock spent the day speaking to those businesses as they looked back on the past year.
It's so odd to think about, but just about a year ago, Hot Springs was a ghost town. Lockdowns were just starting to go into effect, and the Spa City looked abandoned. Now, a year on, the busiest part of the city is finally busy again, and those business owners tell me they're happy again.
I've never been happier. It's so great to see people. It really is.
For a city that relies on tourism, the past year hasn't been easy to Hot Springs.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't want to do this anymore.
For restaurant owners like Anthony Valinotti, this is the first time in a long time that he's felt good.
2 weeks ago, when people started coming back in the restaurant, I realized that my personality was in the restaurant.
It's also the first time in a long time that crowds like this have flocked to the city. Saturday saw crowds of people out enjoying the sunshine and enjoying spring breaks, something they didn't get to do last year.
This year, it's big. I mean, it's noticeably busy downtown, very busy. Some of the most busiest crowds I've ever seen.
And that's something Hot Springs relies on. Without spring breakers in town last year,
we lost a lot of good businesses that had to close.
And it hasn't been easy for the ones who survived.
I mean, unbelievable having to close and not knowing our future hold, and unbelievable how everybody's bouncing back and the restaurants seeing all the visitors.
I couldn't say it on TV. Troubling. It was troubling. The world went through something that obviously we've never seen before, and we hope we never see the likes of this again.
They hope they never see economic loss like this again either. Even though businesses are separated by brand names and walls, they still depend on each other.
Everyone's connected. If we don't have restaurants, we don't have hotels, the plumbers lose business, HVAC lose business, and on down the line. So it's all connected. So it's a team effort in Hot Springs.
It's a story we've heard a lot throughout the pandemic. People banding together to make it through. It means even more to those that stuck it out in the Spa City.
This is my hometown, so to see my hometown bounce back like this, it really means a lot. It melts my heart.
You have to look forward to knowing that something better's coming. At least now we've got an opportunity to come back and do what we love to do.
And again, that was Ian Russell reporting. We're back with a final check of the forecast next. Time now for a final check of that forecast with Nick.
All right, we are looking calm for tonight and to start tomorrow out, Chris. But that next storm system out in Kansas now is going to bring rain chances in here, or at least ramp them up throughout our day tomorrow, especially in the afternoon. Before that, highs near 64. We'll just bounce back and forth between the 50s and 60s throughout the week. 50s through the middle of the week as rain chances continue. And even with thunderstorms on Friday and Saturday, that is when we'll see highs back in the mid-60s.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. And that is our time for now. Our next news time is tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. with the KOAM Morning News. Thanks for making us part of your night.